SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.
I'm Steve Azar, and I'm on the other side of the microphone, meaning I'm asking the questions this time, and oh, have mercy for the airwaves. I spent 20 years in Music City, wrote and made some hits, traveled the world, and then moved my family back to the birthplace of American music and where the magnolia trees prosper. And now every time I put my feet on Mississippi soil, when I'm off the road, well, I'm at peace. On this show, it's all about hearing the stories straight from the mouths of the friends I've made along the way, their journey to success. Heck, there might be someone on, I don't even know, but you know how us Mississippi types are. We tend to take well to new company. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them. I'm Steve Azar.
It's just like that muddy river, moving slow. Ain't no worries, it's how life goes, baby. In a Mississippi Minute. That's right.
Hey folks, time for another In a Mississippi Minute. Grateful for you tuning in as always. Grateful for my guest today, a second time appearance. It's been probably a little over a year or so. Crazy talented. Stand by there. We are the birthplace of America's music, and go to visit Mississippi.org to see why. Just so many incredible artists who shaped the landscape for music globally, including today's guest, who was an Australian native, and her family spent a whole lot of time making music, and she has just done wonders. Let's get to it. Raised in a family of musicians, like I said, music was her first language. This multi-award-winning crossover pop country Australian native with very cool and unique vocals, by the way. It's very honest. Sounds like herself. Her lyrics are emotional, say a whole lot. To me, one of those old school songwriters that have a lot to say for all of us every day. Our everyday lives seems to be touching on a lot of those emotions that we experience. She spent a lot of time with my dear pal, James House, working on records together. She won Song of the Year, Women of Country Awards, Best Folk Band Duo Group of the Year, Best Group of the Year at the FPCM Awards in 2020. And the other one before was 2021. So it's been about 3 or 4 years. She's also written and sang on feature film soundtracks. She topped the Scottish new music charts, charted in the top 20 on Amazon Country Chart, toured the UK, Ireland, US. She's been all over the place. She's got a new record that was co-produced alongside Nashville's Bonnie Diamond. She's so cool. The 10-track record is deeply personal that explores how small moments shape entire lifetimes, blending modern country pop with nostalgic storytelling. The Butterfly Effect is that release. We're excited about her finally putting that album out. We'll get to this and all that and celebrate my dear pal, Zoe. What's up, Zoe?
That was quite an intro.
Well, trust me, I'm going to go back and tweak a little bit of that intro because I'm sitting there just sort of looking at you and looking up there and I'm going like, I just sort of start speaking from the heart and maybe I should just read the intro. But I can't do it.
I appreciate it. I'm just sitting here just like, oh, that is so nice. Thank you.
You're too good. How's everything, first of all, been?
It's full on, and it's been wonderful. And I'm on the other side of putting out my first album, and it's kind of strange. I'm in this weird time where it feels like that chapter has ended and I'm sort of reaching for the next phase now, but it's sort of still tethered because now it's out in the world and now it's doing its own thing and it's the people's now. So it's kind of in this crossover period, and I'm very glad.
Did the first single come out in July or the whole album?
The whole album came out July 4th, which is also my birthday. So it was a big day.
There is another day, by the way. There is another day.
Do you know the fun story of that from me as a kid growing up in Australia? I didn't know what Independence Day was. And so my parents had to convince me that you guys didn't just celebrate from my birthday, because that's what I was under the impression of. And that was a very difficult conversation, I think, for them. But yeah, figured it out finally and, decided to put the album out the same day. So
let me give you my Independence Day story. I was writing with John Swears. We were in Roger Murrah's office. That's when I was writing for Roger at the time. And he walked in and said, you guys are onto something. And then that's what we could hear each other through the walls, And then one of my buddies, Neil Cody, walks in. He goes, boys, that's something. And everybody's talking. I said, all right, here we go. And the name of the song was Independence Day. And ours was a little different version than the big hit by Martina. Then all of a sudden we finish it. We're playing it. Everybody's excited. And one of the song pluggers just walks in and goes, well, boys, I hate to tell you this. Martina McBride, her next single's called Independence Day. And we just looked at each other and go, well, we're going to call this I Don't Want to Be Free, but now it doesn't matter. And that was
the
it.
Next smash
That was the end of that song. How you like that? The end of the song. Anyway, it was a buzzkill that day. It was a buzzkill. All right, so let's talk first of all. I want to dig into this album with you. Your plans. So this is your first solo album. You put out a bunch of albums with your family.
Right.
This is when y'all won all these awards in Australia. Let's back up for a second and talk about what made you make the move of departing from your family, a successful situation, and come into the States.
I got my visa. And it was like do you go or do you miss this opportunity to be in the city that you wanted to be in and be working with people that you've wanted to work with your whole life, you know? Because Nashville, it's the Mecca, you know, you can't get better songwriters and better musicians and just a better creative industry and place to be. And so it was kind of like, do I or don't I? And, you know, the family are insanely supportive. And they were like, you got to do this, you know, you got to go.
Did that mess the band up? Like you're the voice? I mean, did you
it didn't in the sense that it was sort of, it was more me that had driven that entity. And it was like, they knew that if I wanted to thrive and to be the best version of myself and to be the artist that I needed to be here.
And they couldn't, obviously the band couldn't move with you, your family.
Not quite. I mean, they've come back and forth and been a part of it as well, but not as the way that it was, unfortunately. And of course, I mean, since I've been here too, it's just been this wonderful process of creation, you know, getting to work with amazing writers here. And so it hasn't really been like an entity on the road as much as it has been just creating. And, I mean, that's really a solo venture anyhow.
I mean, you think about the Little River Band and you think about, Olivia Newton-John, you think about obviously Keith. And I just think about some of the great artists from Australia who broke over here. And Midnight Oil, right?
Yeah.
Midnight Oil. Yeah. So there was a number of I'm just starting, but that's enough for now, who really made a big mark on the history of music. And it's something about you guys, when you grab a hold of it, you don't let go. You're working with Bonnie Diamond now. Let's talk about how that relationship started and what was the transformation from going from James House to Bonnie Diamond.
Well, interestingly, I met Bonnie. She has this big golden retriever, and I met her through her dog, which is an interesting story. So I'm out at Warner and I'm writing and I'm doing another session and I'm writing with other writers, and I go out into the break room and to go and make coffee. You know, the song's kind of dying and we're just kind of like, let's take a break. Let's go get coffee. So I go out and get coffee. I'm standing there and I'm trying to figure out a line and I'm, you know, puzzling it in my brain, and out of nowhere, this dog just wanders up and I'm like, I've looked around and there's nobody there and the room's empty and there's this big dog. So now I'm sitting on the floor for about 10 minutes playing with this dog, drinking my coffee, thinking about the song, having the best time. I'm like, I don't think anybody's going to claim this dog, you know? And about 2 or 3 minutes later, I just get this tap on the shoulder and I look up and she's like, that's my dog. And I looked at her and I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it's not your dog anymore. And that's how we met. And so from there on, we just started writing together and it just became this instant click. You know, when you find your people and James has been the same kind of way, it's like you get together and it's just, you have the absolute best time. You know, you're writing and you're laughing and there's jokes and it's a really good high energy and you can't really fake that. And I think that's really transferred into the music and into these songs. And this album wasn't really a planned event. It was just sort of, it kind of rolled into an album actually. And it sort of made sense. And then I realized the tale of the stories were all just kind of weaving together into this thing that became the Butterfly Effect. And it was a pretty beautiful, organic course, I suppose. And, you know, I wanted to put it together in the sense of how my life has kind of been shaped, in the sense that it's one, you know, chain reaction and butterfly effect to another that's led me here to Nashville. You know, you can only, as you know, you can only plan so far in any industry or any job or any profession until life just happens and it unfolds as it's going to. And that's what this album is.
The Butterfly Effect by Zoe. Everybody check it out. It's out everywhere you stream. You'll also see some other singles on her as well. She's phenomenal, and she's just got a great spirit about her. Speaking of great spirit, it's all there at visitmississippi.org. Plan a road trip. We are the hallowed ground where the blues influenced the world. Every bit of it. The birthplace of it all. I'm Steve Azar.
I'm that a broken down car in the 8 a.m. traffic, bumper to bumper. Nobody's laughing, I'm crowded. I'm the waitress in LA, way past the prime, shoulder to shoulder, half of my line, I'm crowded.
Listen and watch all your favorite SuperTalk Mississippi shows live and on demand. Listen to tons of music. Plus, get the latest breaking news from across the state with the SuperTalk Mississippi app. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Download the SuperTalk app on your iPhone or Android device now for free. Just search SuperTalk Mississippi in your app store on your mobile device to get everything Mississippi all in one place. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Get it now.
Hello. Flying down that levee road, trying to see how fast you go. I got my baby.
Visit Mississippi.org. Come on, plan a road trip. Head on over to Dancing Rabbit Golf Club over at Pearl River Resort. You'll be treated like a king or a queen. And then you better bring your game because it is a challenge, and it's a glorious, beautiful challenge. You get stuck looking at each hole and just kind of get hypnotized by the beauty. And I'll be there soon. So plan a road trip to Philadelphia, Mississippi. My dear friends over there, Chief Cyrus, Ben, Matt Perkins, the whole team, they're the best over there. I love them. I love them. Visit Mississippi.org. You know, plan a road trip, like I said. All right, Zoe's my guest today. So many awards, but her latest album is what we're celebrating today, The Butterfly Effect. She co-produced it in Nashville just recently with Bonnie Diamond, and as you can tell, they developed a relationship. Rafe Van Hoy and I developed the same kind of relationship. You and I have talked about this. She was married. He's married to Tanya Smith. Her band with Luke and all the guys, Dan and everybody. They were living in the house. They were visiting on a visa as well, and they were from Tasmania. And so we would. Rafe and I wrote our first song, and it was the greatest experience, the easiest experience. And maybe I was prepared after, it was a number of years after being in Nashville, so probably 8 years in. And there was just something about it. And when we recorded that night, it was never that easy to sing on a record, and I never sounded like that. And I was like, this is it, just like you're talking about. So Rafe and I got locked and glued together and wrote, and recorded. And then Luke's dad was in the Little River Band. He was one of the piano players. So very talented band. And that's when I had my first hits with this crazy band from Tasmania. In America, right? The Mississippi Delta guy and the Tasmanian Australian band, and then there you go, and it just worked, so.
We found our way around the world here, us Tassies. There's not a lot of us, but.
I'm going to tell you, though, the way it fit with me, because I wanted to be home, I wanted to sound like I'm home, but mixing it in Nashville, they're the only ones that could ever figure it out. Not the best musicians. It was so funny, Zoe. And maybe it had a lot to do with me because I wasn't preparing, and I wasn't as, not headstrong, but a little bit more confident in what I wanted to sound like, and didn't surrender to the great musicians that I've ended up working with over the years. We all have, who have been wonderful, but I figured out it was best for me to use one of them at a time with my guys that I needed, especially my band on the road as it became my band. And we've really found great players that could be in the studio as well and be creative. Anyway, it was great, but that was the greatest experience. I'll never forget it,
I love that. Yeah, I mean, I think culturally speaking, we're very alike in many ways, the Australians and the Americans. And I think that all translates into the music, which is something you mentioned a moment ago about, Olivia Newton-John and Keith Urban and Midnight Oil and all these other, Jimmy Barnes, Cole Chisel, all these other people and artists from Australia. We're very alike. And I think that it translates, and it just happens very organically.
The difference in being there and being here, because, artists want to go over there from the States and play over there all the time. And so what is the difference for you growing up there and now making Nashville your home?
Well, there's a lot less Vegemite here.
Oh yeah, you're not going to get Vegemite. You can forget it.
You
can get a slug burger in Corinth, Mississippi if you want to. But that's, by the way, that's a veggie burger. That's got a lot of veggie in it.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, the thing with Australia is there's a lot of artists that want to go there from here, and I see that a lot. And it's a beautiful place to go and play and to go and kind of break into if you're already established. But if you're not already established, I mean, the thing with Australia, a lot of folks don't know too, is how big it is. It's nearly the same size as America, and we've got only 26 million people. So when you take that size of a country, spread 26 million people across, California's got like 36 million people. So when you kind of figure it like that, and you start looking demographically at the audiences and trying to bring people to come see your show, if you're a nobody and you've never, had a hit record yet, it's really difficult. So to try and make a sustaining career out of it is tough. But if you're coming from an international country, and America we have a very, very strong love for American music. And, I grew up on so much stuff from the 70s, 80s, the 60s. My parents had this incredible record collection, which I know we've talked about before, but
yeah, no, it's okay.
I grew up on all of that. And we all did. And so when an American artist takes the time to come to Australia, because it is so far away, it's such a big deal for us. It becomes like the focal point. We're going to do it. But if it's someone that's local, that's just kind of breaking, that sort of hasn't established themselves as a major artist yet, it's really tough to bring people out to come see you. So for me, that was kind of the choice, is do I stay and try and make that happen from there, or do I come here and, work with some of the best people in the world and build it from here? And that just made the most sense to me.
All right. Two things. One is, you just said there, I mean, there's no way. I mean, I was stagnant as a songwriter. I would have never gotten any better if I didn't go to Nashville. It's a fact. Getting to work with some of the greatest writers, songwriter of the decade, and Roger Murrah, Mark Allen Springer, songwriter of the year. Rafe Van Hoy, he was that before. All these great writers, of course, James House, we've talked about that. James and I wrote so much together. James is that songwriter that's such a chameleon that can walk in the room and turn into the artist that's in the room. I mean, it's very, very, very unique how he can become that. Also, his influence is very strong. He's got an influence, but it works for some reason with so many acts, and you can go, that's a James House song. That's a James House song.
Absolutely.
And sometimes he can hide it and you won't know. But man, when you hear a James House song and that act is singing it, you go, wow, is that not James? But it's somebody else singing it. And it's usually some big act singing it. But with that said, just working with these great songwriters, it definitely got me to the point where I could do it again on my own, and I do it the right way. So you're doing the right thing there. Secondly, let's talk about, were there any venues in Australia that you could count on, though? Because I know you had to cross over into the UK and Ireland, et cetera, to tour and everything, and to make your world a little bigger and your audience a little, bigger as you go in that grassroots thing. But was there grassroots clubs that you could play growing up that would bring in real fans?
Not really, no, because I lived in Tassie. So where I lived in Tasmania too is even more isolated than the rest of Tasmania. It was on the coast, on the west coast. So it was about 5-6 hours from like a city. It was pretty isolated. I grew up racing dirt bikes. I thought I was going to be a professional dirt bike racer.
Hey,
that was the trajectory I was
you're
on.
in a dirty business, so there you go right there. At times, no, it's a beautiful business.
You know what, though?
It is dirty.
I raced endurance for a long time, so I feel like that's actually translated into this business because it's a career of endurance now. You know, being an independent artist, you're doing everything. You know, you're your own label, your own manager, your own social media person, video editor, producer, song. Like you're doing everything, and so I feel like in that sense, you are still in the race of endurance, and whoever makes it to the other end is really the factor of success, I think, these days too, you know. And we're also in this very strange time as well now where AI has infiltrated the business, and I think people are really craving like authenticity, you know, and that's another factor with this record too, that I really wanted to talk about things in it that felt honest to me that I felt other people wasn't talking about. And, you know, things like I'll Have What He's Having and songs like that. And just, you know, trying to be as authentic as I can in this record too, you know. So it's been a real process. But yeah, my journey started racing dirt bikes, and it was definitely very different from where I'm at now. But
how old were you when you started that?
Oh, I started riding it, you know, when I was about knee high, but I officially started racing when I was about 10. Ended up having a really big accident, nearly died.
Sure you did.
Up on the back of my head from it.
Oh yeah, there's no way you're getting out of that unscathed. There's no way.
That was kind of the thing after that accident. It was like, it's just a matter of when. It's not like a matter of...
No, it's a matter of when. I know. Yeah. There's no way. Let's take a quick break. We are with Zoe. The new album is titled The Butterfly Effect. It's out everywhere. Phenomenal artist, phenomenal lady. Visit Mississippi.org. Phenomenal team over there that bring folks in from all over the world and celebrate who we are, which is a beautiful thing. You know, I am a believer, as I always say. We'll be right back. I'm Steve Azar.
Of the signs and the times and the memories in my mind, all roads lead back to Highway 61. Yeah, all roads lead back to Highway 61. Highway 61. Highway 61.
Up to $20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
There's a ton of content from SuperTalk Mississippi on our new YouTube channel. Just search SuperTalk Mississippi on YouTube or go to supertalk.fm/YouTube. Be sure and subscribe for free to get the latest scoop on what's happening in Mississippi news, politics, sports, and the good things happening here in the state. From the In a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Flying down that levee road.
Zoe, Z-O-E-E. Is it ZOEE.com or Zoe, is it music or what do we do?
It's ZoeMusic.com.
Oh, that's fine. Zoe, James House Music. I got it. ZoeMusic.com. ZOEE Music.com. And her new album, The Butterfly Effect, is out everywhere you stream or download or whatever you can do. Make it part of your listening. Follow her. Go online and just run through her website like you're going to do it. Visit Mississippi.org and plan a trip. If you're in Mississippi, go somewhere you hadn't been in a while or maybe never been and celebrate, because Mississippi's got so many incredible spots, locations, communities that have so much history. So check it out. Be proud of your Mississippi. Zoe, you brought something up a minute ago. You talk about your own label, doing your own thing, your own social media, your own this, your own that, all that. So when, you know, for me, I left, Universal because we were Mercury Records and we got bought out by Universal. And I started doing my own thing since 2006. So I was on that major label for a number of years. But once I figured sort of out how it worked for me, it was a better fit because you can just keep moving at your own speed. Right. And you don't have to wait on somebody and you don't have to blame somebody. You can just blame yourself, which is a good thing. So for you, 2 questions. One, how are you enjoying this process? And as AI becomes part of the business, but you want to keep it out of your songwriting and the creative process. 2, would you ever decide to jump ship and do a major thing for a little while if you felt like it was a thing? Because I felt like having the major thing was helpful for me to go backwards a little bit to my own indie label and go that way because I already had some hits that I needed for longevity's sake, right? So 2 questions. That make sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, so we're in like an era now where TikTok can break a song without ever walking into a record label.
True, that's true.
So the power is completely shifting, success now is it's less about the gatekeepers and it's more about the direct connection with your audience. So, I think the ones who are thriving the most right now are the ones who are really embracing that. And that is something that is actually in our advantage as artists, that we have the ability to be able to even tap into that audience directly, because once upon a time, that was never possible. You had to have the labels. You had to have that direct, reach. Radio is still a different situation, as you know. That's still very much controlled by the powers that be, and that's a little tougher. But it's a different time now too. So for me, I love the fact that I'm able to be in control of the music myself. I can put out a song when I want to put it out. If I write something yesterday, I can put it out today, if I wanted to. So I love the freedom and the creativity of that. It is something I'd be open to, though, if the right thing came along and it made sense and it could help propel this forward for me. And that if it made sense. But we're in this beautiful time now where we can just do it ourselves. So why wouldn't you want to? If you can, why don't you?
No, I love it. Okay, so would you jump ship if the ship was a big dragon and a big yacht and you maybe felt like it was a good idea? Could you see yourself doing that? Or what I'm saying is, if they decide to do that, you're in a position where you can keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. And if everything was really rolling for you on your own, would you jump ship? Have you thought about that?
I mean, yeah, I've had conversations with labels and they love what I'm doing, but it also doesn't make sense at this point, because the first thing they want to know is, 1, what's your numbers? And 2, once we sign you, we're going to just make you focus on putting TikToks out. That's going to be our focus until something goes viral. And then if and when that happens, then we'll jump on.
Is this not so different? You have no idea. So you're a lot younger than me, and I'm telling you, with James and me and all of us growing, it was so different because they were into developing the artists, and they wanted a piece of that action.
There's no development anymore.
No, I know. Well, that's what, I've been developing artists. I got, Drew Pulliam.
Oh,
and he's there now in Nashville with you.
He's in Nashville. I know. We have to get together and write soon.
Oh, yeah. You guys need to be playing the shows together. But
it is such a different world. You're right.
It's a different world. Yeah. And it's all about the numbers. And I was talking to one agent and they go, they loved him. They loved this other artist, Tyler Tisdale, that I worked with for a while. Yeah. And I would get all this. We love him. Get your numbers up. And I'm going how about you put him on tour with one of your big acts and let's get his numbers up quicker, which is the way it always works. It still works that way. It's not rocket science to me. If you got a hit act and you have an act that you really love and that there's no numbers or whatever, you put them on tour with them, and guess what? By the end of that tour, those numbers are there, and all of a sudden they've got a lot of those fans that were there for the bigger act. That's just the way it works every single time. And I don't understand why that you have to have this new step before that now, like this giant step of basically breaking your entire brand before you even get there. And they really have nothing to do at that point. It's kind of crazy to me.
I think a lot of it really too, Steve, is the way that the streaming industry is set up now, because that was never a factor back in past time. So the way that that's set up now is that everyone is scraping at the bottom of the barrel for pennies. So the budgets just aren't there anymore either to support independent artists that are coming up and try and help them develop that.
I get that.
Which I get at the same time is also I'm frustrated by, because there's so much beautiful talent out there that just needs some direction.
Yeah. Okay, I'm digging deeper now that you're saying that. So say you got me kidding. I'm preparing you for what's going to happen, because it's going to happen. So say you're really rolling and you feel really good. There's money in the bank, and you're doing wonders. You're touring like you want to tour, okay? And you built this great fan base, and it's where you are so satisfied. And then all of a sudden a big label comes in. Now what they're going to do is they're going to go, we want a piece of your live, piece of your publishing, piece of your songwriting, probably piece of this, piece of that, piece of your heart, piece of your soul, piece of your feet, piece of your head. So you know what I'm saying? We want a bunch of locks from your hair, Yeah. So, but if it made sense, would you jump if you were perfect?
I'd never do a 360 deal like that. I mean, I think 360 deals are a crazy idea for anyone. You know, the thing is it's like, if I'm able to be in a position where I can do it myself, and I am in a position to do that because of the internet and because of the fact that I'm building this team around me, you know, you then have the ability to create this empire of your own. And then at a later point, you then have the ability to choose who you want to work with. It's not really then you have to, you know, kind of jump on board just because somebody says, well, here, we'll give you this and you can have that. And then shelving happens all the time. I've had so many friends that have jumped on labels that have been shelved, which is
when preparation meets opportunity, which is going to happen with you. I'm just getting you prepared for the answer. In case you can change your mind, but I'm just wanting you to know that it's going to happen. You know, it's going to happen. So it's going to happen, and you're going to have to deal with that one day. So just put it on
That's a good problem to figure out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, it
I'll
may
call
be.
You up for some advice.
Call me, because it may be a very hard problem to figure out too. It may be a difficult. You may have to go at a crossroads, and you're going like, "Oh gosh, what do I do?" If you write out the pros and cons and they match up, what do you do? Okay, so let's So I want to dig into some tracks in a minute, because you got me curious about a couple song titles. But before we do that, just back up for a second and talk about working with Bonnie Diamond. What was y'all's process in the studio?
Oh, goodness. Usually I come in with some form of an idea. I love to bring something to the table, and even if it's just a concept, and then just kind of sit with her and we just kind of bash it out pretty quick. She's such we just click, and we just have this beautiful connection, and she just goes, I know exactly what we're doing. And, you know, we just kind of figure it out from there. I mean, the songs like Wendy, I think we wrote that in about an hour and a half.
I'm curious about that one, by the way.
Recording it there and then that day, you know, we started putting it down. And
so y'all were writing and recording, and eventually you had an album.
And eventually, that's pretty much how it went. Yeah.
Well, that's the way it happened with me and Rafe.
Yeah. You know, I think there was about 100 songs all in all that was ciphered through to get to the 10.
How many?
About 100.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of songs.
Well, it's been about 2 years worth of writing for this album to come together. And so it's, as you know, it's kind of like, it's hard to make those cuts and make those decisions, but it's the strongest songs that make the album. And these 10, I feel, are the strongest that I've.
Wow, I love it. Well, what a plethora to choose from. Let's take a quick break. The name of the album is The Butterfly Effect. Pop country artist Zoe. That album's been out since July 4th on her birthday. So give her a belated birthday present, and go follow her at Zoe, Zoee music.com, and please stream her music, make her part of your daily playlist listening deal you do. You know what I'm saying? Visit Mississippi.org, make that part of your travel plan. Just go on there and just search out your next destination in Mississippi you hadn't been to in a while. You'll love it. We're the birthplace of America's music. We're celebrating one heck of a singer-songwriter in Zoe. We'll be right back.
61. Highway 61.
Up to $20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
Listen and watch all your favorite SuperTalk Mississippi shows live and on demand. Listen to tons of music. Plus, get the latest breaking news from across the state with the SuperTalk Mississippi app. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Download the SuperTalk app on your iPhone or Android device now for free. Just search SuperTalk Mississippi in your app store on your mobile device to get everything Mississippi all in one place. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Get it now.
For all your
driving this 75 Cadillac. I've got
A little bit of a Mississippi Minute left. It's amazing how far we can stretch it out when you just try. Visit Mississippi.org. They've stretched out plenty of opportunities for you to travel the world. You can go to Liverpool on the Blues Trail marker system, and that's where the Beatles Invasion Blues Trail marker is. Buddy Guys is just over the bridge from Natchez over there in Louisiana, and they're all over. There's over 200 of them now. So if you could start following the Blues Trail markers, it'll take you a number of years if you're still working. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't do it. You can't take off that long. Or you could, but you won't have a job when you get back. But you know what I'm talking about. Zoe's my guest today. ZoeMusic.com is ZOEE Music.com. The new album, The Butterfly Effect, is out. Which one was the first song that you guys wrote together? Was it The Butterfly Effect? You and Bonnie?
Actually, Jackie was the first song we wrote together.
And it made the record out of the 100?
Made the record, yeah. Again, something about that beautiful connection of just coming together for the first time and that spark of energy just kind of encapsulated in that song.
I feel like that the one that Rafe and I wrote made the first record. That makes a lot of sense because that's what kept you going. Like, you knew something was there, so Jackie had to stick. It had to stick. 666. Oh, damn, that scares me. You got the spelling of 6, the number 6, and the spelling of 6. What's going on that? You're gonna have to go get some gotta go to church right now. What's going on?
Do something. So that song actually was about, I used to busk on the streets back in the UK, so I played on the streets for a long time, and it's how I made money. It's how I earned my stripes as a performer, and cut my teeth. That was my school. And I was out on the street, and I remember I was performing for the longest time. And to get anybody to stop when you're on the street performing is a big deal because they're not there to see you. They're going from A to B, and you just happen to be in the middle of the way. Yeah. And so I was on the street, and I'm playing this song, and I saw this insanely hot guy just stop. I was in Glasgow, and I'm sitting there, and I'm playing, and I'm just having all these terrible thoughts. I'm like, my gosh, he looks about 6 foot, and I'm still playing the song, and I'm just kind of like glancing over and seeing, and then there's these thoughts. I'm like, he's about 6 foot. And I'm like, gosh, he looks like he's pretty fit. He's probably got a 6-pack under that shirt. I'm like, and then about 2 minutes later, I'm like, if he had a 6-figure income, my God.
You're set.
I'm done. That's it.
Wow. So how long did that stay in your mind before it finally came out as a song?
That one, I had it about 2 or 3 years prior, and then I took it into the studio with Bonnie, and I was sitting there, I'm like, look, we're out of ideas. We'd hit a stump on a wall, and I was writing with Clay Johnson, actually, and he just had a hit with Lana Del Rey and Quavo. And we were just sitting there, and we died. The room died. We just stopped. And I was like, it was the last idea on the list of ideas I had to bring in that day, and I'm like, I don't know what you're going to think about this, but what about 666? He's a 6 foot, 6-pack, 6-figure rebel. They just freaked out. We were like, that's it, we're writing that. And it was just such a fun anthem of basically, it's about
I'm still making the sign of the cross when I get off of this thing. I just want you to know my Catholic self. Okay,
me too, please.
Supernova.
You know what? That's just about someone coming into your life that is just it's a love song, about a person who just lights up your life in the most beautiful way,
All right, now the one that, to me, the other title I loved, I'll Have What He's Having. I love that. So because by the way, my Bloody Mary mix, I'll have what Steve's having. So that's what it says. It's part of our campaign. So,
if I'm going to be straight about this one, it's women make up only 8.3% of artists on country radio these days. That was 29% back in 2000. So I'll Have What He's Having. It's kind of like shedding a light on the reality that women in country music are still pretty heavily underrepresented. And I think it's time for the guys to share the spotlight a little bit with us, because there's a lot of amazing female artists out there and we're really working hard.
You don't think don't you feel that, I mean, I've noticed an influx of female artists that have been so successful, especially since the streaming thing happened.
Yeah.
So don't you feel like that the tables are starting to turn a little bit and it's leveling out a little bit?
I hope so. I mean, I think for radio, it's not at this point, but I think for, especially, in the country genre I'm talking about primarily here, in the pop world, I think women are doing insanely well. There's a lot of great artists out there that are conquering, which I'm stoked about. But yeah, it was kind of just a fun play at how can we make a little more light on women in country music. And
can you imagine in the day when Dolly and Loretta and with the list Tanya and everybody who came along, Reba, everybody that came along and sort of had to be, it was like you had to have an extra layer of toughness to survive. And don't leave Zoe out. What are you talking about? Well, dang. Our time has what do you call it? It's done. I guess it's over. We're done. We're cooked. I can't thank you enough for taking the time. I'm so excited I'm going to dive in. I'm heading on a road trip soon, and I'm going to put my headphones on and study the butterfly effect. How you like that?
I'm going to send you a signed CD because I
have to have that. I have to have it. I got to put it in my collection of all my friends who are rocking and rolling. Well, I can't thank you enough. So the Butterfly Effect, folks, Zoe Music, ZOEE music.com. Check her out. Follow her. Everywhere. She's got over 100,000 followers and 1 million this. So it's crazy what her numbers are. So, just follow her, visit Mississippi.org, take a ride on the country music trail marker system, the writer's trail, the freedom trail, and like I said, the blues trail. No other state started that or does that. The birthplace of America's music. Zoe, you're the best.
You're the best, Steve. Thanks for having me.
I'm Steve Azar. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them, where you can take your sweet time.
A SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.